If you're watching this, that means that Bayonetta 3 is real and comes out fairly soon. What a time you must be living in. Of course, this is a very exciting time for us Bayonetta fans, but there are still plenty of people who aren't Bayonetta fans. Yet. And what better time to start than in the build-up to the new release? Whether you've been interested for a while or whether all the fuss about the new game has caught your attention, may I present a beginner's guide to Bayonetta. By the end of this video, you will know everything that you need to know before starting your very first playthrough of the Bayonetta games. So sit back, relax, and get ready to step into the bewitching world of Bayonetta. Sorry. I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am for Bayonetta 3. After years of waiting, we finally have our release date of October 28th, 2022. And that's actually really soon. Because this is a new game that's coming out so soon, and also especially because we didn't hear anything about it for so long, I've seen a lot of new interest in this game from people who haven't played the Bayonetta series before. If that's you, if you've been drawn in by this new game, or if you always wanted to play the series but never felt it was the right time, then this video is for you. If you're starting your first playthrough of the Bayonetta games, then this video will teach you everything you need to know before you begin. So without further ado, let's begin by addressing a misconception I've seen about what these games actually are. Bayonetta is not a massively long, open world, full of side quests, Xenoblade type RPG. I've seen people think that it is. It's not. These games are hack and slashes, very similar to Devil May Cry or the original God of War games. They're very linear and they are pretty short, all things considered. Depending on your skill level, each game will run you about 8 hours, give or take. They're not massive time sinks that you're going to be spending 30 plus hours on. They're hack and slashes. So now you know exactly what they are. You're going to need to get your hands on a copy of the games. If you just want the best experience possible and you don't mind spending a bit extra, I personally recommend getting both games on the Switch. They run perfectly, you have the added benefit of portability, and plus, when the third game comes out, you'll have all 3 games on the same system. If, like me, you prefer physical games, then there is this, the Bayonetta 2 Physical Edition on Nintendo Switch, which if you buy new, comes with a download code for Bayonetta 1 as well, so that's both games in there for the price of one full price game. Or if you prefer to have 2 physical editions, one for each game, then I believe in September they're releasing Bayonetta 1 as a standalone physical release. Or if you prefer to get games digitally, there is a bundle option of both games on the Nintendo eShop, so you can still get both for the price of one full price game. However, if you're on a budget and you don't mind digging out some of your older systems, then going pre-owned is probably the way to go, as it's much cheaper. For Bayonetta 2, your only other option is the Wii U version, because this game is a Nintendo exclusive. It was only released on Wii U and then Switch. But if you don't mind playing the game on Wii U, it's not a bad way to go. As far as I can tell, it runs exactly the same as on Switch and costs a fraction of the price. For Bayonetta 1, there are a lot more options here. There is also a Wii U version, but there is an Xbox 360 version. You can get it on PC, you can get it on PS4 or Xbox One as part of the 10-year anniversary bundle that comes with Vanquish, and any of those versions are a good way to play the first Bayonetta game. However, there is a PS3 version. Avoid the PS3 version. For whatever reason, the game was not optimized well for the PS3's hardware, and as a result, it runs horribly in comparison to the other versions of the game. So if you can, I would avoid playing that version. So now let's get into some details about the story. It's confusing, especially for a first-time player. However, it's not overly important to the whole experience of the game. I recommend just pay attention to what you can, take in things as they come. The important things you will pick up on and you will remember. If you're the kind of person who likes to dig into the lore of games, there is a lot of lore here, but I would recommend saving that for subsequent playthroughs. The story is incredibly wacky and over the top, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and the game doesn't treat it as a focus, and so I recommend that you don't either. But what I do recommend you do, rather than paying full attention to the plot line, is you pay full attention to the characters. Because it's the characters and their relationships that carry over from the first game to the second game, and will be what carry over from the first and second game to the third game. The characters are what you want to pay attention to in the story and in the cutscenes, and it's what's going to make your experience when Bayonetta 3 comes out a lot better. The characters actually kind of lead me into my next point, as there is a specific character who actually originated in the Devil May Cry comics. This game has links to other games, most notably Devil May Cry and, for Bayonetta 3, Astral Chain. I've seen some people find this out and then wonder if they need to play DMC in order to understand Bayonetta, And the answer is a definitive no. DMC and Bayonetta both have the same creator, Hideki Kamiya, and they both have very similar gameplay styles. So what the developers did is put a lot of references to Devil May Cry into Bayonetta, and that's really where it stops. There are fan theories that connect the games in a shared universe, but it's nothing canon. So really, you don't need to know a thing about Devil May Cry in order to understand Bayonetta. As for Astral Chain, well, it seems to be a bit more than references. There was a whole fake out trailer, but then there was also the homunculi who were in Astral Chain. However, I think it's a safe bet to say that it will be a similar situation to how it is with DMC. Of course, the game's not out, so I can't say that for certain, but I'm willing to bet that, and I really hope that, because I've been waiting for this game for years, and I don't want to realize that I have to play Astral Chain to understand it. That would be annoying. But now, let's talk a bit about what you really come to Bayonetta for.
The sex appeal.
The gameplay. It's the gameplay. Bayonetta has an incredibly slick and stylish combat system, which is satisfying as hell once you get it down. I'm not going to go into detail about all the different gameplay mechanics here, because the game does a good job of making sure that you've got to grips with the combat system before throwing you into an actual fight. But I will give a couple of tips that I've found throughout my many playthroughs of these games. First of all, learn how to dodge at the right time. Dodging is the absolute key to combat in these games, because if you do it right, you can activate Witch Time, which slows down time for everything else except for you, leaving your enemies at their most vulnerable. So what you want to do is pay very close attention to your enemies. A little spark will appear above their head, and that signals that they're about to attack. So you want to pay attention to their weapon. If they swing it towards you, that's when you want to dodge right at the last second. In terms of combat, that is the main thing that you need to get down. And the other tip I have is for spending your halos, which are this game's currency. I would recommend the only things that you spend your halos on are healing items if you need them, and then the techniques. These are your moveset upgrades. Each technique is a new move that you can add into combos, and ultimately it just keeps the combat feeling fresh throughout the game as you unlock more. And I think that about does it. I think that's everything that you need to know before you start your first playthrough of Bayonetta. If you are starting the games, then best of luck. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do, and if you have any further questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Feel free to DM me on Twitter, that's linked in the description, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Above all, enjoy the games. They're a lot of fun. Before I go, I just want to say a massive thank you to anyone who subscribed recently. We just hit 600 subscribers, which is crazy. We only hit 500 in January. I wasn't expecting to get anywhere near 600 by the end of the year, and it's only August. So thank you so much to anyone who subscribed recently, or at all. Thank you to everyone, and thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe down below. All my socials are linked in the description if you want to follow me on anything, and check out the Tipping Stars podcast. It's the podcast I do with a few other YouTubers you may know. Thanks again, enjoy Bayonetta, and I'll see you in the next one.